On this episode of Consumed, we're going to be talking to a consumer. I know, shocking. It's almost unbelievable that real estate people like myself would bring you an actual consumer, not other industry blowhards telling you what you should be doing with your business. We're going to talk to a consumer, and hopefully you take away a lot of tips and best practices from what you hear from this consumer about what worked and what didn't for them. This is Consumed, the podcast for real estate agents who are tired of hearing the same old industry stuff and want to experience something completely different. Super excited to hear and see everybody this week. And I know this would not be an episode of Consumed if we didn't have an actual consumer on. So I'm very grateful to my guest this week, Myrddin McHugh. Did I pronounce that last name correctly?
McHugh.
McHugh.
MCHUGH. Hugh.
McHugh.
Yeah.
So
Howard Hughes. Myrddin McHugh.
I'm so bad with names. It's terrible. But I'm really grateful to have you here today because we're going to talk to you about the real estate buying and selling process. And for those of you listening, a lot of what we focus on is talking directly to consumers to have a better understanding of what they want, what they need, what they like, what they don't like, how we as agents can better engage with them, and sort of not repeat old bad habits or practices or things that we might not be so privy to. But starting off right off the bat, Myrddin, tell me a little bit about your last home purchase. How long ago was it? What was it? Tell me a little bit about it.
I bought a house at the peak of the seller's market or whatever back in 2021. It was my first house purchased as well. 3 bedroom, split level house in Omaha. It's kind of interesting. I'm probably one of the few people that during that market bought a house for listing price. So I have a very unique situation from that time frame.
Okay, so it was sort of that height of COVID. Everything was selling rapidly like wildfire. You bought it at ask. And
actually, I underbid, and they came back. Their counter offer was listing price, but it was sold as is. That was the
good to know.
Stipulation. Yeah,
I think during that time, almost everything was being sold as is because everybody realized it was like waiving all kinds of inspections and everything. But okay, so did you work with a real estate agent?
I did.
Okay, and let's start with the first things first. Where did you find your real estate agent?
Just so happened to know a friend of mine that I used to work with went into real estate as a side hustle.
Okay. So you entrusted the largest financial transaction of your life with the single largest asset that you own to a friend of yours who does it as a side hustle. Am I clamping on that correctly?
Yep, you are.
Okay. And is this person still actively in the real estate business?
As of this year, no, they didn't renew their license.
By the way, and I just want to be clear, I haven't pre-screened any of these questions that I'm asking Myrddin right now. And that's the beauty of the Consume podcast is we're getting live, unfiltered information, just trying to like digest it a little bit and pick it apart. Okay. So you bought it with this individual and let's start with this first then. Were they helpful?
Yeah, I mean, whenever I had questions, it's really kind of hard to answer that because I've never done that before, and so the way I understood it is just like, hey, I just want to know the process because I understand law a little bit about like this step equals that step. We can do this during this step. So the process was explained, but the one thing I didn't quite understand was like, all right, because I remember distinctly asking him, I was like, when do I pay you? And he's just like, that's worked into the thing, and we actually split it with the selling agent. I'm like, I don't understand that process. And explain that to me. He's just like, well, that's kind of like how it's always been. And I'm like, okay.
Okay, so you didn't get a really great explanation on how commissions work. Is that?
No.
Okay. And sorry if I seemed like giggly during this. It's just, again, I have these conversations with people all the time. So for me, it's just very exciting to actually hear that I can allow other people now to hear some of the most typical things that I often hear. So let's go back one full step. When you were thinking of buying a home, what was the first thing you did? Like, did you go look in different places? Did you talk to anybody about it? What was the first thing you sort of did?
Well, I kind of window shopped houses on Zillow, just looking for stuff, looking for something close in the neighborhoods I want to live in.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about pre-qualifying for a home loan or anything like that. So looked at a couple of houses with that agent, because I knew that investing in real estate is definitely something that helps you build capital, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so I understood that at least, but I didn't know how to get into real estate. So it's just like I just so happen to know a guy who's a real estate agent, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I guess I started off where people would normally start off, is just window shopping on Zillow and in neighborhoods I liked, neighborhoods I knew.
So what would you say then was when you were looking at properties online? Like, well, first of all, why did you go to Zillow versus anything else?
Well, because when I looked up homes for sale, Zillow was at the top.
Okay, that's got it.
So it's like wasn't a lot of choices, and I'm just like, yeah, I could go to Berkshire, go to Berkshire Hathaway homes.com and stuff like that. It just I just went on Zillow because it was first on the list of web searchers.
And just to be clear, so you're in Omaha, Nebraska, and so that's why you thought of Berkshire Hathaway, because again, the home of Warren Buffett, and that's one of the most popular brokerages out there in that area. Okay, got it. I just didn't know if you had some like passionate love of, Berkshire Hathaway or something. So I was just trying to get an understanding of.
No. And a little background is Warren Buffett used to be my work neighbor. So the news station that I worked at was right next to Kiewit. At the time, it was called Kiewit Tower, and his Omaha office was right next door.
Nice. I thought you were going to say like, we both worked construction in our earlier days, and he was right next to me with a jackhammer. So I'm already fascinated. So you've gone through this process. You looked at some homes. How did you, when this agent friend of yours, how did he communicate with you most typically?
Text, email, for the most part. Yeah.
And when you said, hey, there's a home that I want to go see, did you like forward him the home, or did he go do research and come back to you? How did that work?
Yeah, he would update me like once a week via email of homes that I might be interested in. And the house that I was actually ended up purchasing, I forwarded to him because one of my best friends was just like, hey, the house across the street's for sale. I know you're looking. And so I hit up my agent, and he looked into it, was like, hey, this is currently underneath KW, Keller Williams, and they have their own. And I don't understand the internal thing of like, I can't reach out until I can't reach out to.
It was privately listed, is what you're saying, within KW only.
Yeah, I think it was it didn't make any sense to me.
So here's what I'll say. I'm going to make a guess at this. My guess is that it was either not on the market yet. Is that possible? That they had an agreement and there was a listing, but it wasn't on the market yet?
Yeah, it was like by how he explained it to me. From my recollection of how he explained it to me was, it's exclusive to KW right now. Okay. It was on the market because there was for sale sign out in the yard. So it was public, but I didn't understand and I looked it up on Zillow, and it was for sale on Zillow through this KW agent. Yeah. Okay.
So you could see it on Zillow. So it wasn't then a private exclusive in essence. No. I'm not sure what the hell happened there. But
you're asking the wrong guy too. Cause I couldn't, I'm like, why do I have to wait a week to go like to like make an offer on this, you know?
So it may have been in a coming soon status, which means that it was listed as coming soon, which is sort of an agent gets to announce that there's something coming, but general agents on the outside aren't allowed to show it until it comes out of that status. I'm not sure, but just from your experience alone, even understanding whatever the heck that was already sounds convoluted and slightly, if not incredibly confusing to you as a consumer, I'm assuming, as to there's a house, there's a sign out front. Why the hell can't I go see it?
Right. Yeah. Okay. And I remember one time when I was looking at another house a few years prior, I approached the selling agent that was selling the house. I was just like, hey, can I go through you to buy this? And there's like, you got to have a buying agent. I'm like, what's that even? I didn't understand what the hell that meant. Okay. Like, I can't just like make an offer to you right now, independent. She's like, no, they were a little bit more, they explained it a little bit easier to me. They're like, you should have a representative to help you out along the buying process.
Right.
So at least from that first experience, understood that. Be like, oh, I got to have an agent myself.
Okay. So that's good to know. I mean, again, at least somebody gave you some information that was beneficial and useful in that sense. Mm-hmm. Technically, I don't know exactly what the laws are in your state per se, but, or if that person's brokerage didn't allow, that, but the reality of it is what they should have said was, no, but I can connect you to one of my colleagues who could help you. That's the correct answer in that situation.
And they definitely didn't, because I'm like, I have money to spend and I like that house. Like, do you not want to sell this house? You know?
Oh boy. Okay. So, the next question, I mean, first of all, I could do this all day because this is just fascinating to me. And I don't mean that in like a fun way. I'm sorry to hear that you've struggled as much as you have in just getting proper information, proper support. Did your agent supply you? Let's go to the lending process, because you said like you didn't know that you needed a lender in that sense. How did you discover, or how did you figure out what you needed to do in terms of getting financing and all of that? Did your agent provide you with that, or did you go do that on your own?
Yeah, my agent provided me with that. He gave me several different options of securing a loan, and actually suggested going through a credit union, which is what I ended up going through, because probably more than likely going to get it through them, especially because I'm also a veteran and I could use the VA loan process as well. And the credit union kind of specialized in VA loans.
Yep. And, that makes sense.
And explained to me that, but what wasn't explained to me, I don't have to do closing costs or anything like that. I don't have to, there's certain costs that are, what was it? I didn't need to have that 10% down, the down payment.
The down payment. Yep.
But I didn't know that there was an earnest
money deposit
and some other costs associated with it. So I had to go sell my shares in Disney to cover those costs. I'm like, why couldn't you have just worked this into the loan initially off the initial, so there were like fees and stuff that weren't explained to me up front through the beginning process, because I would have just thrown everything into the loan itself, or tried to do the fees and everything in the loan itself and not have to like lose out on $5,000 of, Disney.
Dang. Something tells me that Pluto didn't get his doggy dinner then at that point, because he was starved.
I mean, it all got goofy, if you know what I mean.
So it seems like he did well. Your agent did well then in terms of at least getting you to the proper lender who could at least talk about a VA loan and the structure and all of that. Okay. So moving forward, did your agent give you any type of a structure in terms of like, hey, here's a roadmap of what we're going to be doing? Like, you need to do this first, and then we're going to do this, and I'm doing this, and here's what to expect? Or was it just kind of like, as it came up, he would tell you?
It felt like it was as it was coming up. I had a roadmap of we go into initial offering, qualifying, getting pre-qualified first, and then putting in the offering. And then we have this period of potential negotiating, and then final closing is were the steps I recall.
Yeah. There's about 8 more steps in there.
And then going to a brokerage, signing off on paperwork, and eventually you get your key as well.
Right. No, what I'm saying is that for me, a good agent would have presented you with something physically, right? That's like, here's the plan. Here's the roadmap. Here's our flight plan. Here's what's going to happen. I need you this week to do this piece. Right. While you're doing that, I'm going to be doing this. Right. So there's communication 2 ways about what's happening, when it's happening, and how it's happening, rather than just sort of the you go get a loan, talk to these people, and then come back when you're done. And then we'll move on to the next step.
Yeah.
OK, so did you do an inspection?
Yeah, there was an inspection. Yep.
OK. And where did you find this inspector?
I don't remember. I think he was recommended by the agent.
OK. And in the inspection, did you, was there anything that came up in the inspection that you thought, oh boy, or this is a part to negotiate, or was it just sort of like,
There was. There was just prior to the inspection, there was a storm, a pretty wicked storm that came through Omaha.
Oh boy.
And the inspector went up and found not a hole in the roof, but a dent in the roof. During his inspection.
Okay.
And I have friends that live in the neighborhood. I'm just like, after the inspection was done, and I started asking around the neighborhood, I'm like, was there something that hit the house? And cause we were already in between, like I said, it was pre-inspection. So the offer was already in, and the guy across the street was just like, yeah, it looked like a tree limb fell in the back. But it's one of those things of do I want to fight this or not? Because we've already, the offer's already been accepted at listing price. And my agent had been explaining to me too of getting at listing price right now is kind of is a unicorn. Because right now, a lot of what's on the market right now is like selling for 20 to 35% above listing price. And if you're going to lose your earnest deposit, if you pull out right now, and it might be best to just not try to get the seller to pay for, because we can't prove that this was damaged because it's listed as is. We can't, like right now, unless there was some sort of documentation of that dent existing before you put in an offer. There's really a hard way to determine that. So whether or not that limb hit the house or not,
right?
And it come to find out too that on the where the electricity comes in, the meter had a crack in it too.
Oh,
so yeah,
that's not good.
I want to say that limb hit the house.
Okay,
just to ease my mind, but at least my agent was just like, you're going to be out $1,000 as opposed to getting a house for,
well, that's good.
Yeah.
That seems like it was good advice. I would also be curious to know in that process, for you closing, everything for closing went smoothly. No issues in the closing process.
No, really no. It was pretty, once we got over the inspection and a little bit of the trying to negotiate the like damage, because I was just like, hey, can we ask them about this? And they're just like, it's marked as is, buddy.
Yeah.
And I'm like go spin some yarn somewhere.
So here's what I want to do is, as we land the plane on this incredibly fascinating conversation of the real estate transaction process. I want to go through a couple of questions for you briefly as we wrap this up, because I think it's really, really important. If you were going to sell your home right now today, and you were going to move to another home, what would be the first thing that you would do?
The first thing I would do is find a suitable selling agent. Well, first I would look on Zillow to see how much my Zestimate is.
Okay, sure.
And seeing how much I can get out of this place. Now I've already made improvements on it, so I know. I just recently got new siding. I ended up getting a new roof because of hail damage, and ended up moving that meter. I replaced that meter, and it took from fuse boxes. I had fuses in that house. Took it down from 3 different circuit boards down to 1 circuit. And with a new meter. So, and I also do landscaping, so I know that the type of landscaping that I do increases property value. So, finding an agent that understands the upscale value of this home, right? And so from there, understanding that I'm probably going to list it as is too, because I don't want to make any more improvements or counter offers.
So you're going to get that Zestimate on Zillow, and then where would you find an agent? What
I would do is look for I'm going to avoid going through people that I know. First, I'm just going to start from scratch and just do a simple search, simple Google search, be like, what companies have some of the highest ratings, right? Like, is it Remax? Is it Next Home? Is it Berkshire Hathaway? Better Homes and Gardens? And see what agents, and look at the reviews of agents. I like agents that are really active in my community. Because I'm constantly getting in mailers from some agents. Just like, they're like, hey, we're having this open house. You're invited. There's going to be wine and cheese and whatever. You're invited. So I probably hit them up first and see what they're all about, and just because if I can see them as a friend, then I know that they'll look after my best interest.
So, but how do you know if they're any good?
Yeah, just anyone with more than 25 reviews and a close to a 5-star, as close to that 5-star rating as possible.
Got it. So,
and then just looking at their social media and seeing who is commenting on them, as opposed to and because the reviews should be coming from consumers, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then just kind of see who is leaving reviews on their social media.
Okay. That's excellent to understand and know. And then my last question, and thank you again for enduring all of this, is I know there's a lot of questions there. My last question would be this. What do you want, or what would you expect from your real estate agent? If you said, hey, look, here's like one of the most important things from an agent, what would that be?
Just looking after my best interests. Like, what I really need is like you said earlier, this is the single most important decision that you're going to make in your life, is purchasing. Second would be selling, because you're probably looking into the market of either upscaling, at least for me, single guy, bachelor. And so my next thing might be upscaling, because I have a significant other and potential family. So is what agent understands that most and can handle this transaction and explaining a little bit more, a little bit better, of the process going from being a first time seller now, because I kind of understand the buying process now.
Makes sense. It is, if for in your opinion, is it important to you that the agent you're working with be very prepared, or let's just say is able to easily demonstrate a plan for you, like what is involved in this process with specificity?
Yes. I don't need a whole lot of details. I just need what are my options? And then what is your opinion on these options? Like,
okay,
because I'm handing over you my financial statements, my, what I want, what I need. And then to just help guide me on the best decision out of a unbiased opinion out of that.
Myrddin, I cannot thank you enough for going through this process with us. As again, it's always fascinating for me and hopefully for the audience to hear these conversations with consumers, learning a little bit more about their process, what they did, how they found people. It's all really helpful to us in helping develop and build better agents and a better real estate experience for consumers across the board. So thank you so much for doing this with us. We really appreciate it. And I hope that when it comes time for you to sell, I will be the first text message that you send out, not because I want to work with you as my agent so that I can tell you exactly who you should be going to for the best agent anywhere in the country. But I can't thank you enough, man.
Yeah. I should have said that to begin with. Is I'll hit up Lance Pendleton when I'm looking to sell, and then he can hook me up with the correct
agent. But
yeah,
amazing. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you.
So let's recap what we just heard today. And this is why I love doing this podcast. It's why I love talking to consumers as much as I do, because you really get to hear from people what it is and what their experience is like, but what it is like for them to go through this process. So here we were talking to somebody who didn't really know much of anything when it came to the buying process, new to the process, relied on a friend of theirs who was doing it part-time. And that person's no longer in the business 3 years later, as we know from most agents that get into the business. And, here it is where this person did some things right. But the truth of the matter is that they left Myrddin completely unprepared in a lot of really important ways. One of the major things that comes from this is being able to learn and understand that if you're representing a buyer, first of all, I'm not sure that Myrddin understood fiduciary duty. What is the agent's fiduciary duty? Well, it's to protect the consumer's personal and financial best interest and place it above their own. Right. So that just helping someone like Myrddin understand what that is and what that means is incredibly important. There didn't seem to be a flight plan. I hear this all the time from consumers. My agent was just sort of like doing it and making it up as we went along. And they were very helpful and very kind and they were nice, but there was no flight plan to anything. There was no explainer. There was no saying, hey, we're going to start here. I'm going to show you the core steps. That was missing as well in that process too. I mean, there's just so many little parts and pieces that I hope you took out of today's conversation. So my recommendation to you would be, hey, how do I as an agent get better at creating a real map for somebody that's coming into the picture and process to understand what it is that I can do to demonstrate to the consumer that by working with me, you have a very clear picture of how I support you, what I do, each one of those steps. So for example, I have a seller's guide and I have a buyer's guide. Now, again, it's not a listing presentation or a buyer's presentation. It's actually a guidebook that shows somebody all of the steps in process. And so these are really core important things. And worse yet, I think we can talk as much as we want about the way that people go about doing things. But I think it's very clear to see that Myrddin's first inclination was to go to Zillow to just look at some properties, followed by, if I was going to sell my house, I'm going to go back to Zillow again to go look at a Zestimate, which we all know is wrong 3/4 of the time anyway. And it's important to really recognize that why does that happen? It's because Myrddin doesn't really have a relationship developed with somebody in his social network that he feels comfortable and confident in being able to trust to have these conversations with. So for me, the biggest takeaway from today's conversation is, if you are an active agent today, if you are the folks that we're talking to and you're looking at the top 10% of agents, Myrddin doesn't know that 90% of all the real estate transacted last year was done by only 10% of the licensed agents, right? He has no idea about that. So we've got to get better at getting out to people to say, look, not all agents are created the same, right? How do we help educate consumers to the idea that there are top agents that are phenomenal at what they do? They are very, very gifted and dedicated to their craft. And then there's a bunch of other people who, I'll be honest, there's a lot of nincompoops out there that have no business being in the business. So we've got to do a better job of educating consumers about that. We have to be able to provide people with fundamental things that are core to explaining what a process looks like, not just verbally, but written as well too. And allowing that to be something that is mentioned and referenced, because I love the fact that Myrddin said, look, if I was going to go sell my home now, I would go online. I would go search. And that's why marketing yourself is so important to be done properly. Right? It's not about going on social media and saying, oh, my new open house, my new listing, my new this, my new that. You heard Myrddin say, I want to see what other people are saying about you. I don't need to go on there and look at a bunch of agents commenting, oh, that's so sweet that you have, a new sale. Congratulations. Nobody cares about that stuff. The reality of it is, we've got to get better at educating consumers on the idea that not all agents are created equally. And more importantly, that for people like Myrddin who are new to the process, or for the first time folks that are stepping up as a first time buyer or first time seller, what is it that we do specifically that creates differentiation between us and those other people that don't really know what they're doing or shouldn't be doing it? So I hope you took away some fantastic stuff from today's conversation. We're going to keep having many more of these conversations with consumers, and we want to cover a lot of different socioeconomic demographics so that you can hear all different types of things from different people. But it's an amazing thing to talk to consumers and find out, because it's how we improve our business to meet people where they're at.